Imagine settling into your first-class seat, ready for a comfortable flight, only to have it all unravel in an instant. That's exactly what happened to one black veteran, a hero who had proudly served his country, but was about to face something he never expected: discrimination at 30,000 feet. A flight attendant, whose behavior was anything but professional, targeted him with actions that left passengers stunned and outraged. But what followed next turned the tables in a way no one could have predicted. This isn't just a story about injustice, it's about resilience, dignity, and a surprising twist that left the airline scrambling to make things right. Stay tuned as we dive into this powerful story that exposes a shocking moment and celebrates the courage to stand up for what's right. What did this veteran do that shocked everyone? Let's find out. As the plane prepared for takeoff, the veteran sat quietly, his presence commanding respect without a word. Passengers nearby exchanged polite nods, unaware of the drama about to unfold. Everything seemed normal until a flight attendant approached him, her demeanor cold and uninviting. Without explanation, she questioned his seat assignment, hinting that he didn't belong in first class. Confused but calm, the veteran explained that he had purchased the ticket like everyone else. The tension grew as her tone became sharper, drawing attention from other passengers. Whispers began to ripple through the cabin. Why was she singling him out? Some passengers exchanged concerned looks, sensing something wasn't right. Then, without warning, she made a decision that shocked everyone. The veteran was asked to leave his seat, but instead of creating a scene, he remained composed, his next move not only unexpected but unforgettable. The veteran stood up slowly, his calmness almost unnerving in the face of such humiliation. Passengers watched closely, some visibly uncomfortable, while others whispered among themselves, questioning what they had just witnessed. One woman leaned over to her companion and muttered, "This doesn't feel right." Despite the tension, the veteran refused to argue. Instead, he asked the flight attendant to clarify why he was being removed. Her vague response about policy only deepened the unease spreading through the cabin. It was clear to many that her reasoning didn't hold up. As he gathered his belongings, another passenger, a business executive seated a row away, couldn't stay silent. "This isn't fair," he said firmly, loud enough for everyone to hear. A ripple of agreement echoed through the rows. But what no one realized was that the veteran had a plan, and what he did next would leave the airline scrambling to explain themselves. The veteran walked down the aisle, his steady steps making the situation feel even heavier. The cabin was silent, except for the occasional murmurs of passengers who couldn't believe what they had just seen. Some pulled out their phones, discreetly recording the moment, sensing this was a story that wouldn't end here. As he reached the front of the plane, he turned back briefly, his calm eyes scanning the passengers who had witnessed it all. Then, without raising his voice, he said, "Thank you for your service," directing the words at the flight attendant. The irony of his statement wasn't lost on anyone. The tension in the cabin reached its peak. Passengers shifted uncomfortably, unsure of what would happen next. The veteran's quiet dignity made his removal feel even more unjust. What no one expected, however, was that this moment was only the beginning of what would shake the airline to its core. As the veteran exited the first-class cabin, something unexpected happened. Several passengers began to speak up, their voices rising in protest. One stood up and demanded to know why he was being removed. "He did nothing wrong," the man said firmly, drawing nods and murmurs of agreement from others. The flight attendant, visibly flustered, tried to regain control, but the atmosphere in the cabin had shifted. Meanwhile, the veteran, still calm, stopped just short of leaving the plane. Reaching into his bag, he pulled out his phone and began typing. Unknown to the crew, he wasn't just a passenger. He was also a well-respected advocate for veterans' rights with a significant online presence. Within minutes, his post detailing the incident began to circulate, gaining traction faster than anyone could imagine. Back in the cabin, the tension escalated. A second passenger, frustrated by the injustice, declared, "If he's leaving, so am I." The unexpected show of solidarity left the crew scrambling. The ripple effect had begun, and the airline was about to face consequences far beyond that flight. As the veterans' post went viral, the airline staff remained unaware of the storm brewing outside the plane. But inside, the atmosphere was electric. More passengers began speaking out, with some refusing to remain seated until the situation was addressed. The flight attendant, now visibly shaken, retreated to consult with the captain. Moments later, the captain himself entered the cabin, his face stern as he tried to calm the passengers. Then, just as it seemed the tension couldn't escalate further, a member of the cabin crew approached the veteran in the terminal. With an air of urgency, she informed him that the airline's leadership had been notified of the incident, and they were requesting to speak with him directly. Before anyone could process what was happening, an announcement came over the terminal's speakers. The flight was delayed indefinitely, and the passengers were asked to disembark. As they left, murmurs spread about the airline's next move. But for the veteran, this was more than a victory. It was the beginning of a much larger conversation. And the twist: the airline wasn't just issuing an apology, they were offering him a platform to help shape better policies for the future. As passengers exited the plane, many approached the veteran to offer their support, shaking his hand and thanking him for his service. The airline's leadership quickly issued a public apology, acknowledging their mistake and pledging to investigate the incident. Behind the scenes, they reached out to the veteran, not just to apologize, but to invite him to work with them on improving training for their staff and ensuring incidents like this wouldn't happen again. The veteran, ever composed, accepted their apology and the opportunity to create change. For him, this wasn't about revenge. It was about ensuring fairness and dignity for all passengers, regardless of their background. His story gained widespread attention, sparking a larger discussion about equality and respect in public spaces. As he boarded his rescheduled flight, this time with smiles from the crew, he carried a quiet sense of victory, not just for himself, but for everyone watching.